So I want to speak about one of Ray's main rivalries and what happened, and that is Roberto Duran. He was known as Manos de Piedra, which means hands of stone. The reason, I mean, it's in the name itself, but he had vicious power. He had really, really strong punches, and all of his opponents said it. And it was actually Ray's first loss, and it was one of the most important fights of his career in terms of what it taught him. Because before the fight, Duran was vicious in the build-up. He's very crass. He was swearing at Sugar Ray. He was swearing at his wife. He was just insulting him. He had no respect. He didn't care. He was brutal. And Joe Frazier was actually once asked what he thought of Duran, who it reminded him of, and he responded with Charles Manson, as in the serial killer, because he was crazy. He was nuts. Funny thing is Roberto Duran was actually one of Mike Tyson's favourite fighters as well, which explains a lot. You always go after the heroes that you want to be. So Duran, one of the things that he did was to win that fight was he got inside Ray's head, and that's where Ray made his first mistake. During those final days, I saw Duran everywhere. I saw him when I was jogging before dawn. I saw him when I was pounding my sparring partners who wore t-shirts with his name printed on the front. I saw him when I was watching comedies on TV. I even saw him in my dreams. Never did another fighter penetrate my psyche space as much as Duran, and there was nothing I could do about it. Each time I saw him, he was where he belonged, on the floor, and after just dissecting hours of film, I knew precisely how to put him there. I would box him to death. So he had the right plan, but Duran got in his head completely, so deeply that Ray abandoned it totally. As dangerous as Duran was, however, his best wasn't going to put me away. I too was ready to die in the ring, and that unfortunately was where I went wrong. I fought Duran toe to toe instead of exploiting my superior boxing skills. So Duran, by getting in his head, worked him up so much that he made him fight his fight. Duran wanted Ray Leonard to fight the way he was going to do, which was toe to toe, and Duran, being the sort of superior slugger, he beat him to it. And if Ray had just stuck to the game plan, stuck with the boxing, he would have beat him. And he was undefeated at that point. And I think as boxers, when they are as ambitious, as great as Ray Leonard is, one guy who comes to mind is Roy Jones Jr. When you're going for like a complete record, there's very few boxers who actually have ended with, you know, a zero loss record, and I can name them for you in one hand. Joe Calzaghe, he's a middleweight boxer from Wales. Floyd Mayweather, obviously well known, and one of the most famous ones is Rocky Marciano from 1930s, 40s, and they all ended their careers on a zero. Actually, Terence Crawford most recently as well ended with zero. He's a great boxer. So it's very difficult, and they want to do that because, you know, they want their legacy just to go on forever. Because if you never lose, there's always that question, there's always that what if, and he lost that. And he says this: I felt a deep sense of loss, as if a part of me had been taken away for good. I was certain I would defeat every opponent until there was none left, and then retire for real, on top, undefeated like Marciano, invincible forever. As it turned out, I was not invincible. And so the rematch that he had with Duran is one of my favourite stories in the whole book, because it's a complete reversal. This time Ray got into Duran's head instead, and he got a strategy, and it was actually inspired by his brother Roger, who wasn't the sharpest, you know, wasn't the sharpest person in the toolbox. And this is what he said: there was one more significant change in my approach to the rematch. The source was Roger. Ray, you got to embarrass Duran, he told me. When you do, he would lose trust in himself, and you will have him. Duran has to always be the macho man. Make fun of him, and he will not know how to handle it. And then here's what happened in the fight. I then recalled the words of the renowned psychologist Dr. Roger Leonard. Ray, you got to embarrass Duran. What did I have to lose? If it didn't work, I'd know soon enough. In the 7th, I dropped my hands to the side and stuck my chin out, inviting Duran to hit me. I didn't choreograph any of these moves in advance, but after I could see his frustration, I kept improvising. I did the Ali shuffle. I was performing more than I was punching. Midway through the round, I wound up my right arm several times as if I were about to throw the bolo punch I played around with during camp. I faked Duran out, firing a straight left jab instead. The jab did not hurt him, but the reaction to the jab did. It hurt him badly. The fans were laughing. Duran could take punishment, perhaps more than anyone in my era, or any era. What he could not take was being made to look like a fool. That went against the manly Latin American image he spent a lifetime building. And so this led to one of the most infamous moments in boxing. Duran quit on his stool. He was done at the end of it, and it wasn't because he was hurt, it was because he was humiliated. And the fight is known as Omas, which basically means give up. Apparently he said that there's various theories, but apparently he said that as he quit. And then it means that it was quite shocking. It was shocking to see a boxer like him, as strong as he was, to quit because he just didn't have the heart to go on. And it still goes on to this day. Everyone knows about the fight. He became infamous for it. It doesn't take away any of the great things that he did, but it is like a stain on his name, and I don't think he's ever really come out and admitted it, that he was just sick. I think afterwards he made an excuse about having stomach cramps, which is obviously not true. You can go watch the fight yourself.